Harihi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. So continue, Yudhishthira will be captured. Then the battle between Arjuna and Bhagadatta. The Pragjotishta monarch threw 14 lances at Arjuna in quick succession. Those jewel-encrusted javelins with shining steel points blazed as they sped towards the Pandava, the many small bells tinkling delightfully. Arjuna immediately shot arrows that cut each of the lances into 3 pieces. As the lances fell to the earth, he fired another dozen shafts that broke Supratika's armor. It fell from the elephant's body in fragments like meteors falling from heaven. The dark beast then appeared like a mountain suddenly freed from its surrounding clouds. Bhagadatta hurled a long dart at Arjuna, its tip glowing red and emitting sparks as it flew. Arjuna calmly cut it into 2 with a single razor-headed shaft. He then cut the king's white umbrella and tall standard. With a further 10 shafts he pierced Bhagadatta, who replied with another 24 long lances. One of the lances struck Arjuna's diadem and knocked it from his head. Replacing his diadem, Arjuna gazed at Bhagadatta with steely eyes. He shouted out, "Take a last look at this world, O king." Bhagadatta, because they say these things, just that, that's the mood, they're in that fighting mood, but by saying these things also it inspires the other warrior to fight more. Rather than, take another look, like that. No, what do you mean last look, and then they get very enthusiastic. Bhagadatta quickly took up a new bow and covered Arjuna and Krishna with a shower of barbed arrows. Arjuna released a cluster of flat-headed shafts that cut his bow to pieces and pierced all his limbs. Taking up his golden hook, Bhagadatta thought of the Vaishnava weapon, which was in his possession, reciting the ancient aphorisms to invoke that irresistible weapon. He charged his elephant hook with its potency and hurled it at Arjuna. All the warriors witnessing the fight between Arjuna and Bhagadatta gasped as they saw the missile, capable of killing all creatures, fly towards Arjuna. Suddenly Krishna stood up from his place on the chariot. Throwing out his arms, he received the weapon full on the chest. As it struck him, it turned into a garland of celestial flowers and draped itself around his neck, because it is the Vaishnava weapon. So it means it's Vishnu's weapon. So then Vishnu's weapon is not going to bother Vishnu. So it's just the weapons themselves, they have their weapon form, but they have their personal form, or as associates, and they associate with the Lord. So then he takes on that mood of service. Arjuna was mortified. Why had Krishna interfered, keeping his eyes on Bhagadatta? Because I think this is the one weapon he didn't have a counter for. I think in the beginning it was mentioned that was the one weapon they didn't know what to do. Why had Krishna interfered, keeping his eyes on Bhagadatta, who had been stunned by Krishna's thwarting of the Vaishnava missile? He said, "O lotus-eyed one, your promise was that you would drive my horses and never enter the fight. Why have you interceded? I could understand you taking upon yourself to protect me when I am incapable or about to fall, but here I stand with all my faculties and weapons. Not even the combined celestials and asuras could defeat me. How have you felt it necessary to act as you just did?" Slowly circling the chariot around Bhagadatta, Krishna replied, "Hear, O sinless one, the origin of the weapon that Bhagadatta released for your destruction. Long ago, when I awoke from slumber in my form as Mahavishnu, the earth goddess came to me seeking a boon. Knowing that I was inclined to grant favors at that time, she said, 'Please bestow upon my son Naraka the Vaishnava weapon. Let it be that he cannot be slain by any being.' I replied, 'O goddess, it shall be so. Your son will be invincible, protected by my weapon.' She then went away, and her son received the weapon, which he later passed on to Bhagadatta. This weapon can slay any being within the 3 worlds, including Indra and Rudra. Therefore, for your sake, O Arjuna, I baffled the missile. Now you may slay your opponent. this implacable enemy of the gods, Bhagadatta, even as in days gone by I slew Naraka in a great fight. So Krishna himself had to kill Narakasura like that, because he couldn't be killed by anyone else in the universe. That was the benediction. So he says, so like that you now. And just as Narakasura was defeated, then Bhagadatta received the weapon from Narakasura. Now he should be defeated. Understanding that Krishna saved his life, Arjuna fixed his gaze on Bhagadatta. He swiftly covered him with hundreds of straight flying shafts. As Bhagadatta parried the attack, Arjuna took up a long golden lance. He drew it back, and invoking the power of Indra, hurled it with all his strength at Supratika. He went into the elephant's head right up to its golden wings. Right, so that's a lance. So lances are not small. The javelins, they're quite big. But they may have some feathers at the end to help the flight, but it's thrown by hand. So for it to go in that much, one, you can understand it's a very big elephant, and two, it's that lance has gone completely up to the feathers, means all that's sticking out is the feathers, means the rest of it's in his head. Supratika stopped in its tracks, its limbs paralyzed. Although goaded by Bhagadatta, it slowly fell to the earth, like an enormous hill uprooted by a thunderbolt. As the elephant screamed, Bhagadatta leapt from its back. Before Bhagadatta reached the ground, Arjuna sought a crescent shaft that tore open his breast and cut his heart in two. His bright turban fell from his head like a petal falling from a lotus whorl stem has been violently struck. Oh, like a petal falling from a lotus whose stem has been violently struck. He dropped to the earth with his golden garland broken and scattered. His arms and legs spread akimbo. He appeared like a god fallen from heaven when his pious credits had expired. Arjuna circumambulated his foe in respect. Then, because he was such a great warrior, you have to respect such great personalities. So even though he defeated him, still, you have to be respectful. Then, turning his chariot towards the Kaurava army, he rushed back into the battle. Shakuni's two brothers then attacked Arjuna with mighty yells. 1,000 Gandhara horsemen backed them. The warriors fell upon Arjuna, releasing hundreds of arrows. Unperturbed, Arjuna took up a couple of razor-headed shafts and beheaded both princes. The horrified Shakuni then charged at Arjuna. Invoking a mystical Asura weapon, he spread a fearful illusion that covered the Pandava. Okay, so that means Shakuni used a mystical Asura weapon. Clubs, iron balls, rocks, darts, barbed shafts, bludgeons, swords, tridents, axes, and other weapons fell on Arjuna from all sides. Ferocious animals, burning with hunger, attacked Arjuna along with rakshasas, carnivorous birds, and demons. Right? You can see this is an Asura weapon. It's just everything fearful that's just going to freak you out. It's not like meant to encourage battle and bring out more of the Kshatriya mood. It's just meant to completely disturb you like that. So you see it's a slightly different approach. A thick gloom enveloped his chariot, and harsh voices reproached him from out of the darkness. Arjuna invoked the lustrous celestial weapon known as Gotishka, and the darkness dispelled. All his illusory assailants vanished, but huge waves of water then appeared and rushed towards him. Arjuna quickly discharged the Aditya weapon to dry up the waters. Seeing his illusions nullified, Shakuni turned and took to his heels like a cowardly deserter, right? Because the point is he only had illusions. He doesn't actually have a great fighting skill to match Arjuna. He may be a good warrior, but how many can fight with Arjuna? Arjuna turned on the Gandhara forces and slaughtered them like a lion killing small animals. Right, so Shakuni is run, but the forces that are left, the Gandhara warriors, then he fights with them. Other Kaurava warriors charged into the fray, and a general fight ensued between the two armies. Yudhishthira remaining near Arjuna with Drishtadyumna and Satyaki by his side, right? So now he has all three, right? The Kaurava forces were broken and dispelled by Arjuna and Bhima, who fought together like a couple of enraged gods. Abhimanyu fought with Karna, keeping the powerful warrior engaged, while Drishtadyumna directed his weapons at Drona. As the foremost fighters contended, Arjuna drove back Arjuna's huge army with its hundreds of thousands of with his hundreds of thousands of shafts. Bhima spun around on foot, creating a carnage with his whirling mace. Right? So he just, when it gets going really wild, then he, it means if he has a specific opponent, then you see before, like he's dealing with the bows and arrows and everything. But if it's a general fight, then like that, he'll get out his club and, go to work. Drona fought intensely, but he could not find any opportunity to seize Yudhishthira. He slew numerous powerful fighters and wrought a massive destruction among the soldiers. But the invincible Satyaki guarded Yudhishthira closely and, assisted by Drishtadyumna and the Panchala forces, kept Drona at bay. Because Satyaki's the head of the Dwarka army, so he's no slouch. Right? He may be young, but he's no slouch. As the sun reached the meridian, Drona, seeing the Kauravas getting the worst of the fight, decided to regroup. He sounded the retreat and recalled the vast army to the western side of the field where they were encamped. Duryodhana was angry. "Oh, preceptor, why have you not fulfilled your vow? You did not capture Yudhishthira, and Arjuna ranges unchecked across the field. Are your words to prove false?" Right? Duryodhana doesn't see that things didn't go exactly how they weren't. Duryodhana's mind is, if it goes the way I want, then everybody's working properly to their best. If it's not going the way they want, it doesn't matter what fate or anything else is doing. It means no one's trying hard enough. Right? Because, his desire is supreme, of course. So we see now, again, he's insulting Drona like he was insulting Bhishma. Drona felt his patience tried. "It does not behoove you to address such harsh ones to one who is always striving to serve you. I've told you many times that no one in the universe can conquer Arjuna," right? He won't listen to that. They've all told him. And at the end, he'll be dead. And Arjuna and the Pandavas will be perfectly fine. But, until he's dead, he won't accept. He has even held the three-eyed Mahadev in battle. Now that Yudhishthira is aware of our aims, he is keeping himself well guarded. Right? Because before, he would be there in smaller groups and the main warriors would be out. But you see now, no, he's there with the main fighters right there. So he may be more at the front of the battle, but he's with them and protected by them. It will be difficult to capture him, but I will try my utmost. My word that I will kill one mighty hero will be kept. I will now form an array that even the gods could not penetrate. The remaining Samsaptakas should again challenge Arjuna and take him to the southern side of the field. We will then try to trap Yudhishthira, and in so doing, will at least take the life of someone who comes to protect him. Drona gazed across at the Pandava army. If one of their principal fighters could be killed, it would be a blow to their morale. He decided to form the Kauravas into the Chakra Vyuha, the circular array. That arrangement would likely result in one of the Pandava heroes being trapped, perhaps even Yudhishthira. Only Arjuna knew the secrets of that formation. No one else among the Pandavas could resist or break it. Unless that was, Arjuna had taught it to someone. Drona began giving the commands. He would soon find out. Chapter 15. Abhimanyu's incomparable power. After deciding to regroup the Kauravas, Drona went over to Shusharma and said, "O king, your vow remains unfulfilled. Arjuna will doubtlessly accept your challenge again. Go with your brothers and draw that hero towards the south. We will try again to trap Yudhishthira." Shusharma immediately left with his 3 remaining brothers. The surviving Sapsaptakas, Trigartas and Narayanas, followed him. All the warriors blew their conches and roared, their minds fixed on victory or death. Seeing Shusharma stationed across from him blowing his conch and shouting a challenge, Arjuna broke away from the Pandava army and rushed once more towards him, gradually maneuvering him towards the south as Drona arranged the rest of the Kaurava forces into the Chakra Vyuha. Soon the circular array was formed, with the invincible Kaurava chief stationed at its key points. In ranks, the soldiers advanced towards the Pandavas. Duryodhana and his brothers stood in the center of the formation, supported by Karna and Kripa. At its head stood Drona and his son, backed by many kings and their forces, who spread out behind him in a vast circle. As Drona closed on his foes, he let loose hundreds of winged arrows Immediately a massive wave of arrows flew towards the Pandava army, along with lances, darts, iron balls, and battle axes. The warriors' cries filled the air. Seeing that his enemies had arranged themselves in the impenetrable Chakravyuha, Yudhishthira became thoughtful. Only Arjuna knew how to break that array. He had mentioned it to his brothers, but he had not told them the secrets he had learned from Drona. But so he knew that, so that was the thing, get rid of Arjuna. Otherwise, the chakra, then Arjuna would have immediately broke in, and then it would have been, you would have had him right in the middle of everyone. And it's for defending on the outside, not for defending on the inside. But Yudhishthira recalled Arjuna saying how he had once discussed the knowledge with Subhadra and that Abhimanyu had overheard them speaking. The prince was their only chance. Yudhishthira called for him and said, "O son, I think that apart from yourself, there are none in our army who can break the arrangement of troops now advancing towards us. Your father Krishna and Pradyumna are the only warriors on earth who know the secrets of breaking it. And I understand that you are a fourth knower of the secret, having heard it from your sire. O heroic prince, Drona surely intends to push through our forces with his unbeatable formation. Throwing us into disarray, he will then try to capture me. Tell me, dear child, can you smash through these troops today?" Abhimanyu stood proudly in his chariot, clad in bright armor, his bow clasped in his hand and his standard waving in the breeze. The handsome youth looked exactly like a powerful hero among the gods. Although only 16 years old, he was already one of the foremost fighters in the Pandava army. But he seemed uncertain as he replied to Yudhishthira, "O king, what you say is true. I am conversant with the method of breaking and entering this array, but I do not think it possible for me to get out again. My father has not yet taught me that knowledge. I will be like an insect impelled by anger to rush into fire. If any danger should befall me, I will be trapped." Yudhishthira reassured him, "Do not fear, O mighty armed one. My brothers and I will be right behind you, along with Drishtadyumna, Satyaki, and all the Panchalas, Kekayas, Matsyas, and Prabhadrakas. We will protect you from all sides." Bhima, who had overheard the conversation, added, "We will follow you closely, O hero. Once we enter the array, we will smash it apart." Hearing his uncle's assurances, Abhimanyu became confident. He raised his sword and loudly said, "Today I will achieve something that will glorify both my mother's and father's family. I wish to please my father and my uncle. All creatures will see me, a single child of the Rishnis, crush the enemy host. I will not consider myself the son of either Partha or Subhadra, if anyone I encounter today escapes with his life, or if I fail to enter the array." Yudhishthira blessed the prince. "May your words prove true, O son of Subhadra, and may your strength increase even as you speak. Go now, and we shall be not far behind you, supported by troops who are no less than celestials." Abhimanyu looked at the advancing Kauravas. He ordered his charioteer, "O Sumitra, urge the horses towards Drona's divisions. I will break his formation apart as the sun dispels clouds." And so now, now Abhimanyu will go into this, and break this formation, because Drona thinks no one there except Arjuna knows it. Krishna knows it, and Pradyumna knows it, but Pradyumna is not there, and Krishna is with Arjuna, so we shall see what happens. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.